Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. I'm Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. 49ers Report number 2 will be live tomorrow, by the way, so be sure to be on the lookout for that as we talk about the latest Niners news, rumors, analysis, and buzz going into NFL free agency, which gets underway on Monday. Coming up here on today's show, Brandon Aiyuk trade rumors continue to heat up. Could he get dealt to a team like the New England Patriots? And how about the Seattle Seahawks? What is their plan? Last couple of days, they have made some major roster changes, and I'm not sure what that team is going to look like in 2025. Going to be unrecognizable to a certain degree. And we'll talk about that because obviously any team inside the NFC West and the moves that they make, it impacts the 49ers because the Niners play those teams, twice a year. Let's begin with talking about Brandon Aiyuk. And this is part of a big conversation for this football team. We're in this transitional era, it seems, for the 49ers. They traded away Deebo Samuel. There's some chatter that they could cut a player like Kyle Juszczyk. Last year, they moved off of Eric Armstead. It's not a guarantee whether or not they're going to sign quarterback Brock Purdy to a contract extension. John Lynch said last week from the NFL Combine, we want to get younger. We want to reset the salary cap a little bit. And so the Niners could be resetting this roster. After the 2024 season in which the Niners went 6-11, I had said they need to retool. They need to reset. But they seem to be doing it in a manner that seems a little bit more significant than what we had maybe anticipated. And could the Niners be making some more big-time moves after the trade of Deebo Samuel? On Saturday, as we know, Deebo traded to Washington in exchange for a fifth-round pick. The Niners might not be done. Here's what Adam Schefter had to say. Quote, I think that the 49ers, in their particular financial situation, are open to listening on just about anybody. And so if there's a team out there that is willing to take on the Brandon Aiyuk contract with him coming off the torn ACL, I'm sure they would listen. I think if the Niners get a pretty good offer for Aiyuk, there's a good chance that the 2023 All-Pro could get dealt. What if a team is desperate to trade for a pass rusher and the Niners are like, you know what? We'll trade away Nick Bosa. He's making $34 million per year, has been really good since signing that contract, but in the 2 years since signing that deal, he hasn't lived up to that level of money. I don't think that anything is off the table for San Francisco. Now, going back to Aiyuk, a lot of buzz in Indianapolis last week for the NFL Combine, and a lot of trade rumors starting to circulate that the Niners could trade Aiyuk. According to some of the top NFL insiders out there, all of them reported, other teams are showing interest in Aiyuk, and Aiyuk could get dealt. And it's so funny how people will say, Chase, clickbait, you're just making stuff up again. When in reality, I asked John Lynch directly, the man who, alongside Kyle Shanahan, makes the decisions pertaining to this football team about a Brandon Aiyuk trade, and here's what he had to say because he did not shut it down.
Yeah, that typically happens with really good players. I remember, I think 2 years ago, having similar conversations. You get calls, and you always listen to calls. And, I think since Kyle and I have been here, we've been, certainly a top 5, I believe, number 2 cash spending team. In the last 5 years, I think or 4 years, going into the 4th year, I think we're the 4th highest cash spending team. So at some point you have to reset a little bit, or at least recalibrate. You can't just keep pressing the pedal. And I think there's some good that can come out of it. We need to get younger. I think we're the oldest team in football, trying to make a run at the deal last year. And I think it's good to constantly get younger. Our draft class last year was a great move towards that. We'll have 4 picks in the top 100. If the comp picks happen like we see it, that's always a calculation. We'll have 10 picks overall, and we're excited about adding more youth to a great core of players that we already have.
And look, nowhere right there did John Lynch shoot that chatter down. He could have said, we are not trading Brandon Aiyuk, like he said in the past about Nick Bosa and other marquee players. He didn't do that. So that leads me to believe that Aiyuk could be available for the right price. Here's more from Adam Schefter. He said, trading Aiyuk away, not a simple thing to do. Look, if there's no knee injury, it's a simple deal. But because there is a knee injury, because he may miss the first half of next year, and there are questions about when he'll get back next year, there are a whole host of pending issues. And so you think about the reality of an Aiyuk trade, the optics of it, the value of the player. At that money number, with that injury, what team is going to trade for Aiyuk? But if they do offer the Niners a good deal, can San Francisco turn that down if they want to get out of that contract, get younger, and get healthier? It's interesting. Now, Aiyuk does have an option bonus in his contract that is worth $22 million. That kicks in on April 1st as we sit here on this March 5th. NFL free agency beginning on Monday. The Niners will have a pretty good idea what their team is looking like and what type of team they will field going into 2025. But considering that the Niners just traded Deebo 3 weeks before he was due a $15 million option bonus, it's fair to assume Aiyuk could get dealt as well. And remember, last year, before the Niners signed Aiyuk to that deal, as that just dragged on forever, the Patriots were a rumored team to be interested in Aiyuk services. They had a deal in place for him, and the Patriots were going to offer him a 3-year, $90 million deal. But Aiyuk did not want to play for New England. So he kind of made it be known that he was not, if the Patriots traded for him, going to sign their offer. And then the Patriots were like, okay, if we trade for him and he doesn't sign a contract extension, let's nix that. And so the deal then fell apart and it cratered. But here we are a year later. Aiyuk has signed a deal. He's posting cryptic messages on Instagram. I still don't know what the hell he was talking about. And the Patriots have Drake May, who in his rookie year played very well. He looks to be a legitimate quarterback. The Patriots have needs at the skill position spots. They need a wide receiver. And the Patriots know around Drake May, we need weapons. We need to improve. Let's assist our young quarterback while he's on that rookie contract, just like the Texans are doing for C.J. Stroud, just like the Commanders are doing for Jaden Daniels. And here's what Mike Vrabel said about improving the team. He said, yeah, he's willing to spend money.
Well, I don't think anybody has a longer appetite. I mean, we all want to win. Like, that's why we're here. That's why I got hired. And it's to win. It's put a product on the field that they can be excited about, that they can care about, and they can support. Like, that's the whole goal. And they shouldn't have to wait very long. And, but we also have to understand that, we're not going to fix every issue on the first day of free agency, or we're not going to fill every hole on the first or second day of the draft. Well, I mean, I'm sure, I like to shop like everybody else. And so when you go and there's only one of, a certain car, maybe you have to pay a little bit more for that one car because there's only one of them. When you start to get into a range where you feel like there's an area where players are comparable and you like 3 or 4 players at a certain area for a certain role, you may not have to overspend. But it's free agency. I think that everybody overspends sometimes in free agency.
And we'll see what the Patriots do. We'll see what the 49ers do. Things are really going to get spicy as the new league year gets underway next week. The Niners, not the only team inside the NFC West, busy making moves. How about what the Seahawks have done just in the last 2 days? So on Tuesday, they released and cut Draymond Jones, defensive end, Rayshon Jenkins, a safety, who the Niners had interest in last offseason, George Fant, offensive tackle, and Roy Robertson Harris, a defensive tackle. Today on this Wednesday, they released Tyler Lockett, a longtime Seattle Seahawks legend and favorite at the wide receiver spot. And then right after Tyler Lockett took to social media to say, I'm leaving Seattle, in a post that was obviously emotional for him, the organization, and the fan base, DK Metcalf requested a trade. And multiple teams are expected to show interest. Teams like the New England Patriots, teams like the Las Vegas Raiders, DK Metcalf entering the final year of his deal. And with all of these moves trickling out for Seattle, I wonder, what is the Seahawks' plan? They were semi-competitive last year, nearly made it to the playoffs. Mike McDonald going into year 2. They do have some pretty good players on that roster, but now Geno Smith is going into a lame duck year. It's the final year of his contract. Looks as though DK Metcalf is going to get dealt. Tyler Lockett got released. He is free to sign with another team. And then the Seahawks have let go of a couple of starters on both sides of the ball. So they don't have a quarterback for the future. They seem to want to trade their number 1 wide receiver. Tyler Lockett got released. And you think about the Seahawks' future, it's murky. Are they just going to tear it down, rebuild, be bad in 2025, and then try to draft the franchise quarterback going into the 2026 draft? I just don't know what the plan is for Seattle. And some of the top teams in the NFL, they always have a plan. Like the Niners right now are being aggressive. They seem to have a plan. Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles, last year in 2023, they lost 6 of 7 games to end the year. It was ugly. They had a plan. The Kansas City Chiefs, they have a plan. They might trade, or looks as though they're going to trade, Joe Thuney. It's not official, but once the new league year begins, it will be made official. They're going to trade away Joe Thuney, a multi-time Super Bowl winner, multi-time Pro Bowler, left guard who filled in at offensive tackle. They have a plan to replace him. Kingsley Suamataia, they drafted him in the 2nd round out of BYU. Looks like he's going to play guard, and then they'll try to take an offensive tackle at 31. But the Seahawks right now do not have a plan. And I already know some people are like, Chase, why are you talking about the Seahawks? Because the Niners play them twice a year, and it's one of the most hostile rivalries in the entire National Football League. So wanted to talk about them for a little while. Don't miss a beat with anything that the Niners do, with any of the buzz out there. That's why you got to hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you tomorrow.